Hey everyone, how y'all doing? Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about all of the books that I plan on reading in December. So I have quite a large TBR for this month. I'm not going to talk about every single book that I want to read because I would literally be sitting here forever. So I'm just going to be talking about my main priority ones. I am going to be doing weekly reading vlogs in the month of December, so you will be able to follow along with me and see what I do end up reading. But I just really wanted to highlight all of the main books that I really desperately need to and want to get to in the month of December, so let's just get started. So first up is a reread, because it's me, of course. I need to be rereading books at literally all times, and it is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I've reread this book multiple times. I've actually already reread it this year. It is quite honestly one of my comfort books. It just brings me so much happiness and joy, and I don't even know how to describe it. But I specifically want to reread it again in December because the movie adaptation for it is coming out, and I'm honestly really excited for the movie, even if I'm a little skeptical of it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to see it in theaters because I think it's only going to select theaters, but I'm gonna find a way to watch it because I'm really excited. So I'm using this as an excuse to reread the book, even though I realistically do not need to reread it before seeing it, since I've read it so many times. I know what happens, but I need to reread it, you know? So this book is about Joshua and Lucy, and they are work rivals. They sit right across from each other every single day, and they just don't get along. They don't like each other. And then one day a promotion is announced within the office, and they are both going to be going up against it, which just kind of heightens everything. But then they have a little encounter with each other, and they might realize that they don't actually hate each other as much as they think that they do, or maybe they never actually hated each other at all. That was a really bad description, but I really love this book, and I'm really excited to do yet another reread of it because I'm trash for this book, and honestly I need all the joy that I can get right now. So the next set of books I'm going to be talking about are all Christmassy books, which I'm really excited to get to. I have quite the stack this year and I'm really excited about it. A few of them are rereads, but let's just go through them. So the first one is a newer release, and it's called The Holiday Switch. It's by Tiff Marcello. I honestly don't remember what this one's about, so I'm gonna have to look at the back here. Okay, so from what I can gather just right off the bat from a quick skim of the synopsis, our main character Lila is working at this local inn, which is the setting of the greatest film of all time apparently, and she's also an anonymous book blogger. But her perfect holiday plans come crashing to a halt when she finds out that her boss's frustratingly cute nephew becomes her coworker, and they keep butting heads, and then they switch phones one afternoon and they realize they've been hiding things from each other. Why do I feel like this is about to be one of those books that has one of my favorite tropes in it, where the two characters interact but don't know it, and then they have a different dynamic in real life? Is that what's happening here? Because if it is, I'm 10 times more excited than I already was. But even if it isn't, I'm still really excited about this book. It seems like such a cute little story, so I'm really excited about this one. It seems super cute, super fun, and I'm ready to read it right now. The next holiday book is called A Convenient Christmas. This is by Jodie Holford. This, I believe, is a self-published novel. She's also known as Sophie Sullivan. I read her book 10 Rules for Faking It recently, and I really loved it, and I will be talking about that in a recent reads video soon because I don't think I have yet. But this book I knew I had to grab instantly because one, look how adorable this cover is. Amazing. I don't remember what it's about because I never remember what books are about. So it looks like it's about a girl named Abigail, and she loves Christmas so much she has made it her business. Okay, so her business is called A Convenient Christmas. We love that. Oh, so when her oldest and dearest client hires her to add a little cheer to her son's life, Abby is up for the challenge until he fires her. This sounds very similar to one of my favorite Hallmark Christmas movies, or Hallmark type Christmas movies, where the main character is a holiday shopper, a personal shopper, and she ends up being hired to do this guy's personal shopping for Christmas, and they end up falling in love. That's kind of what this is reminding me of right now. But the love interest, Finn, is too busy trying to get through the holiday season to enjoy it. Oh my god, this sounds exactly like the Hallmark movie. I'm so excited. He's a divorced dad. He's spending the holidays without his daughter, who will be with his ex, and that might be why he overreacted when he found a tree trimming woman in his living room. And then there's an unexpected change of plans where he's going to be spending the holidays with his little girl after all. And then he apologizes to our main character to get her to help him make the Christmas magic for his daughter. So I think that this sounds really cool. Really excited about it. Just knowing that it's similar to one of my favorite Christmas Hallmark movies has me really excited. I believe it's called A Gift Wrapped Christmas, so really excited about this one. I think you guys should all go check it out as well because it sounds like it's going to be such a cute and fun read, and I'm excited. So the next few Christmassy reads are rereads for me. So the first one is In a Holidays by Christina Lauren. I read this for the first time last last year, but this one I love so much. So it's basically about our main character, Maylin Jones, and she is a stickler for like holiday traditions. Every year her and her family meet up with some family friends at a cabin and they spend the holidays together, but this year is a little bit different because at the end of the trip she finds out that the family who owns the cabin are actually selling it. So this will be her final Christmas at the cabin and she's really sad about it. And as they're driving away to go home, she's thinking about how sad she is, and then they kind of get like in a car accident, and then all of a sudden she's on the plane from days prior. So she ends up in this kind of like Groundhog Day like time warp situation where she is reliving the same day over and over. I loved this book so much. It was so much fun and I'm really excited to reread it. I've been thinking about it all year long, just waiting for December to come around, so I'm really excited to reread this one as well. The next one is Landline by Rainbow Rowell. This one isn't like too overboard with the holidays. It just like kind of takes place at Christmas, and there's like obviously like mentions of Christmas things, but it's not like a Christmas book, if you know what I mean. So I reread this book every single year. I listen to the audiobook because I really like how the narrator tells the story. So this book follows our main character Georgie, and her husband and her kids are supposed to be spending the holidays with her husband's family, but right before they leave she gets the job opportunity of a lifetime and she doesn't have the time to go. So her husband and her kids go without her and she stays behind at home, and while she's at home she kind of is thinking that her marriage is in shambles. She doesn't know what's going to happen, if her husband is going to like leave her. Like everything's kind of like up in the air with kind of how her husband left. So she ends up staying at her childhood home with her mom for most of the holidays, and she ends up picking up the landline to call her husband, and when he picks up it's her husband from the past when they were dating. So she kind of just gets to talk to her husband from the past, and I love stories like this and I really enjoyed this book. So I'm really excited to do my annual reread of it because I don't know, I just really enjoy it. Like all the talks of marriage and marital problems and just like the cool plot line of like talking to her husband from the past on the phone. I don't know, I just really love all of the dynamics in this book, so I'm really excited to reread it. And then my last holiday read is another annual reread for me, and that is The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand. So this book is kind of like a Christmas Carol retelling in a way. So basically our main character Holly Chase is visited by the 3 ghosts on Christmas Eve, and they keep telling her if you don't change your ways you are going to die. She does not believe them, so she doesn't even try to change her ways. So lo and behold, she does end up dying, I believe on Christmas Day. And then she ends up being recruited into Project Scrooge, which is basically the corporation that puts on A Christmas Carol. They have all the different ghosts and they're the ones who visited her on Christmas Eve, and she is now the new ghost of Christmas past. And I'm just like obsessed with this story because she now has to help a new Scrooge every single year, and I'm just like, oh, I'm so obsessed with it. I think this book is so clever and beautiful, so I highly recommend this one, and I'm 100% looking forward to doing my annual reread. Okay, so now to go into all of the other books that I need to read. So I really need to read One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I can't believe that I haven't already read this book. I don't know what's been like taking me so long, you know, like I need to read it. This is Casey McQuiston's second novel. I really liked their first book, Red, White, and Royal Blue, so I was obviously highly anticipating this one. I never know how to like properly describe this book, but our main character August basically gets on the subway train one day and ends up meeting this really cool girl, and she ends up finding out that she's been displaced from the 1970s, and so she has to like try to help her find a way out and return to like her own time, I think. I have no idea, but I've heard really good things about this book. I know a couple of my friends really loved it, so I'm like dying to read it and love it as well, and I just haven't yet. So I figured December is the perfect time to do that. I really want to try to get through some of my 2021 releases, not all of them, but like I do want to get through some of the ones at least that I was highly anticipating, and this one is definitely one that is like at the top of my list. So then I have a full companion trilogy that I want to read, and that is the Dumpling verse books, the Clover City books. I think it's just called the Dumpling Trilogy, honestly, but that consists obviously of Dumpling, Puddin', and then the newest release, Pumpkin. So it started out with me just wanting to read Pumpkin because it's the newest book. Again, it's a 2021 release that I was really anticipating, but then I was like, hey, why not just reread these two as well so I can get the full effect of this one, since it is a companion series. All the characters make reappearances, and I'm like, I've been kind of wanting to reread both of these anyways, so what I've decided to do is I'm going to be binge reading these in December at some point, and the plan is to hopefully do a reading vlog where I read these books in like 3 days. So reading the Dumpling verse books in 3 days kind of thing. I did a video similar to this with the Scythe Trilogy by Neil Shusterman last year, and I really enjoyed it, and so I thought thought, why not challenge myself again and do it with these books? Although I'm going to assume this is going to be easier than Scythe because they're contemporary, they're a lot smaller than the Scythe books are, but I'm really excited about this one. So I guess I'll just describe briefly what each book is about, although if I'm going to be honest, I don't really remember the plot of Puddin', so I'm going to have to like remind myself. So Dumpling follows our main character Willow Dean, and she has always been very comfortable in her body until she meets a guy named Beau, and they start having like this little bit of a fling, and she starts to become very self-conscious of her body when he's touching her, and she doesn't like the way that makes her feel. So she ends up joining this beauty pageant that's been like super popular in her town. Her mom was a prior winner of this pageant, so she ends up joining this pageant to like reclaim her love of her body, I guess, if you could say it like that. I don't know if that's a good description of this book, but it's one of my favorites and I'm really excited to do a reread of it. Like I said, don't remember what Puddin's about because I've only read it once. So we do follow two characters in this book. We follow Millie, who is another girl who does the beauty pageant in this book. Every year she goes to fat camp, but not this year. This year she has new plans to chase her secret dream, which is to kiss the boy she's been crushing on. Then we also follow Callie, who is the mean girl from this book. And when it comes to other girls, she's more frenemy than a friend. Circumstances bring the girls together over the course of a semester, and they surprise everyone by realizing that they might have more in common than they ever imagined. That's like a very basic plot. They don't really give you much detail there, so I don't remember exactly what happens in this book, but I know that I loved it and I know that I'm very excited about it. So this book, I believe, follows our main character Wayland, and he submits like an audition tape for his like favorite drag queen show, I think, but what he doesn't count on is the tape being leaked to the entire school, and as a result Wayland is nominated for prom queen. And then alongside that, Hannah, who is a character in these books, is nominated as prom king, and I just absolutely love that premise. I'm really excited to read these books, excited to reread these two and read Pumpkin for the first time, and I hope you guys are excited about the reading vlog that I will hopefully be coming out with regarding the series. So then I have a few books that were specifically on my 2021 TBR. So first we have The Paper and Heart Society by Lucy Powery. So this book follows our main character Tabby, and she is tired of trying to fit in, and she feels like she hasn't found her people yet. Then she joins a book club, and it just seems like it's going to be a book where she finds her people and a book celebrating books, and I'm very, very intrigued by that kind of plot. I love books like this, so I'm hoping that I can get to it this month because I really like to complete my TBRs for the year, and this is obviously one of those books. So the next book is Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds. This is another book that I've been wanting to read for a really long time, and I've just been kind of putting off. I'm not really in the mood for like sadder books, and this one and the next one I'm going to talk about are like heavier books, I guess, and I just haven't been in the mood for that because I've been going through a hard time and I just want like happier books. But I do really want to read this one. It basically follows our main character Jack, and he falls in love with this girl named Kate, and they have like this cute little romance, and then she ends up dying, and he ends up in like this time loop of the day that they met, I think, and he makes it his like ultimate goal to try to prevent her death. So it sounds really, really emotional, obviously, but I've heard nothing but good things about it, so I'm really hoping to have a good time while reading it, even if it does break my heart a little bit. I love stories like this, and apparently I've got a lot of like weird time books on my TBR. I got like at least 3, so we love that for me. I guess there was an accidental theme for the month of December, but I am really excited about this one, and I do desperately need to read it, so fingers crossed. And then the next book is Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. I desperately want to read this book. Like, I really want to read it. I'm going to be reading it for a reading vlog that I'm not going to tell you guys about yet because I don't know when it's going to be coming out. And I need to read it because it's on my 2021 TBR. And this is, like I said, another heavy book that I'm really nervous to read because I just know it's going to absolutely break me apart. I read her other book, Monday's Not Coming, and it did completely break me apart. But I'm just like not in a mood to be hurt like that. Like, I'm very fragile at the moment, so I'm really nervous to read this, but really excited nonetheless. All I know is that it's about our main character Enchanted, and it's kind of always been her dream, I think, to be a big star, like a big singer, and she ends up being given the opportunity of a lifetime, I believe, by like this producer guy to be a big star, and then he ends up taking advantage of her, and it ends up becoming this really like pedophile type situation, which is not good. Yeah, it sounds awful, it sounds scary, but the book itself sounds really good. There are a lot of trigger warnings for this book, so let me just list them off for you real quick. So it says mentions of sexual abuse, rape, assault, child abuse, kidnapping, and addiction to opioids. So this book is not a light and fluffy book. I'm very nervous to read it, but I'm very excited nonetheless. So fingers crossed I can get to this one. Okay, I've got 2 more books to talk about, and they are both 2021 releases. So the first one is Makeup Breakup by Lily Menon, also known as Sandia Menon. I've been dying to read this book all year long. I wanted to buy it back in February when it came out. No stores had stock of it. I finally bought it, I think, with birthday money in July, and then I just haven't gotten to it. I just haven't picked it up, so I need to read it. It's quite short and I just know it's gonna be a quick read. This one I believe is about a main character who has an app called Makeup, and it's been described as the Google Translate for failing relationships. But then there's a guy named Hudson Craft and he has an app called Breakup, and it's known as the Uber for breakups. Oh my god, apparently they had a summer fling in Vegas and like everything would have been fine if they had just gone their separate ways, never to see each other again. But unfortunately he is moving in to the apartment building next to our main character Annika, and they're also competing at the prestigious Epic Investment Pitch Contest, a contest that our main character needs to win if she wants to keep Makeup afloat. So it sounds like rivals to lovers. It sounds amazing. We got romance dating apps. I'm very excited about it. This book just sounds like everything that I want and more, so I'm really excited for it, hoping that I can read it in like one sitting and just have a good old time. Oh my god, okay, the last book, everybody. We finally made it. So the last book on my official TBR is Perfect on Paper by Sophie Gonzalez. So this is one that I've actually already started. I started it a few months ago and I got up to page 108 and I was really enjoying it. I just wasn't really in the mood for it, so I put it down because I really want to love it. But I do really want to read this one, and I left off at like a really good part where they were like about to go to Disneyland, and like obviously I need to read that. We all know how much I love Disneyland, so why did I stop there? I have no idea. So this book follows our main character Darcy, and she basically gives anonymous love and relationship advice through this like abandoned locker. So people will just like slip in any like relationship questions, and then I believe she like emails them back or something using like an anonymous email. But then one day this guy Broham ends up seeing her in the act and going to the locker, so he finds out her identity and he convinces her to be his personal like relationship coach to help him win his ex-girlfriend back. And Darcy feels obligated to do so because if people were to find out that she was the one behind the relationship advice, she would end up in a lot of trouble because there was like a conflict of interest, I believe, with her best friend, and she doesn't want her best friend to find out that she's the one doing all of this. I was really enjoying it when I was reading it. Like I said, it just wasn't in the mood and I've been dying to pick it up again. So this is like one of the first books that I want to read in December. Like I think this is gonna be the first one that I pick up, and then I think I'm probably gonna jump into like the hating game or something. But I am really excited to read this book and talk about it with you all. So those are all the books that are on my official TBR. Like I said at the beginning, I do have a lot more books that I want to read. I just simply didn't want to be sitting here for any longer than I already have talking about all these books, because honestly these are a lot of books right here, and yes, they all are contemporary or romances, so they should be hopefully quick reads, but you just never know, you know. But it is my plan in December to literally just sit down and read all the time and like just do YouTube, so I'm hoping that I can get a lot done. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a huge thumbs up. Comment down below what you plan on reading in December because I'd really love to know. Subscribe if you have not yet already. Like I said, I am going to be doing weekly reading vlogs in December. I'm also hoping to upload 3 times a week, to make sure that you do subscribe down below and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!